Happy 4th of July! We got our fireworks ready. But this video, it's not about fireworks. Although, well, technically it is. The fireworks that started July 4th, 1776. Hey everybody, for those who don't know me, I'm Tom Cliff, Invention and Leadership, and I want to talk about that specific date and what was happening. When our forefathers signed that Declaration of Independence, nobody knew how this was going to turn out. They were traitors at the time. Not everybody on the American continent supported this revolution. In fact, while the war was being fought, many people had tried to play off both sides. If you go to Mount Vernon, they'll tell you about Valley Forge, that terrible winter, in which American merchants were actually ripping off the Continental Army. In one instance, what was supposed to be a box of rations turned out to be nothing but sand. As for the commander of that Continental Army, George Washington, he was a failure. He failed in every military venture he attempted. In the French and Indian War, he was a disaster. In fact, when he was appointed commander of the Continental Army, many in the Continental Congress were not very thrilled with that idea. They were like, wait, this guy, George, are we sure about this? But he kept that army together through some very difficult times. He had more defeats than victories, but he leveraged his resources. He built a great intelligence network. He did have some bold victories, like crossing the Delaware River against the Hessian mercenaries. But for the most part, he actually lost more battles than he won, but he won where it counted. And where it counted the most, he kept that army together. And of course, this culminated in the American victory. But on July 4th, 1776, our founding fathers didn't know how this was going to turn out. In fact, we didn't even have a government per se. We didn't create the Constitution till 10 years later. I mean, it took us a while to get to where we are today in terms of that document, but it all started with that idea. An idea that has inspired people around the world. And you look at America, each day, 2020, it's been a rough year, but I tell you, you go to the most death to America country in the world, and the line to get an American visa is around the block. There's a great story in the book, The Siege of Mecca. It talks about when Islamic radicals seized the Grand Mosque in Mecca, but it highlighted three events that took place in 1979, Siege of Mecca being one, the seizure of our embassy in Iran being another, the seizure of the embassy in Pakistan. In fact, that happened. They burned our embassy in Pakistan to the ground the same year. And the same thing happened in Libya. But in the cases of Pakistan and Libya, our people got away. But what made things interesting is one of the people who was looting the embassy as our folks were escaping, he actually approached one of the guys and said, hey, can I get a visa? I mean, think about that. You go to the most death to American country in the world, and I've seen it. The line for an American visa is around the block because people know you can come to this country and be anything. Not saying that people don't have obstacles, but you look for a place where you can be the best you can be. There's very few places like it. And we created an idea that inspired others. The founding fathers, they took the ultimate risk, and they didn't know how it was going to turn out. But I tell you, each and every day I'm proud of this experiment and how we continue to evolve closer and closer to the ideals envisioned by our founding fathers, who didn't necessarily live up to the ideals that they envisioned, but created the framework to bring us closer to those ideals each and every day. So I hope you reflect on this, have a wonderful 4th of July, recharge your batteries. I know it's been tough with COVID, it's been tough with the news, it's been tough looking at the instances of injustice going on in this country, especially some of the racial injustice being highlighted. But I tell you, we got a lot of positive things going for us. And let's remember the positives, improve on the negatives, and keep growing as a country. Thank you for watching this video, and have a great 4th of July. Take care.